So let's remove that color light, pick the density light. Oops, we got the color in there too. Oops, we still have the color. Let's try that again. Interesting. Let's pick that, pick remove. Well, let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and take that color light, hide it, and take light, pick the density. Okay, now I'll unhide. And let's go ahead then and scrub back to 0. We only want this, so we've duplicated this dynamic set. We do not want that velocity anymore. We'll remove it. And now we're affecting data channel 1 at birth using this density light and taking that color and upfeeding it. And actually, we don't want the color anymore, do we? We want to go ahead and expose the float and hide the color, because actually we would just want the intensity value from that light, because the density is a float value. So we've got the data channel exposing the float, and data channel set to 1 to match the data channel 1, CH1. Okay, so we're going to go ahead now and set up Pyrocluster to reference data channel 1 for its density. We'll come down to the density section. Right now I set to 20, so let's keep that in mind. This is actually going to act as a multiplier. We're going to come in here and say we want to use a thinking data channel effect, and we'll select this first key and we're going to say density, second key, density, and actually we're going to go ahead and set these to 1, so they only act as a multiplier of 1 with no variance. Okay, we'll go ahead and save, and now let's go ahead and render that. Okay, you can see that these guys have faded out quite a bit. When we check out the alpha, we can see we've got some big dark spots in here. Let's go ahead and actually, we're going to do something with this light value, this intensity. Rather than go back into Pyrocluster and modify the data, we're going to just go ahead and do it here in TP. We're going to use a float value, and we'll pipe that intensity into the float, disconnect it from the data channel first. We'll use a multiply it by 10, take that value into the float now. We'll scrub to update, save, and render. Okay, and there you can see that those densities are now quite a bit darker and more dense, and we've got a bunch of holes in there, and that is again because we had that we have this noise pattern being projected onto the ground. If we go ahead and increase maybe the size of this, what will happen is we'll see that the particles are going to update with that new light value. And it's created a very large hole right in here. Let's go ahead and get that back up, and instead of 37, let's go back to let's do 25 this time, and maybe fade that off a little more. Get some brighter brights in there, and we'll get some darks. We don't want too dark. And we'll go ahead and render and check it out. Yeah, so we still get some good thin densities as well as quite a few thick areas. We'll take that float, let's multiply it only by 5 this time, and we'll duplicate this, keep a copy. Okay, so I've gone ahead and got that new density in there. We can see some good density variation. We've got color variation. Both of those color and density are being set by the lights that we've got in the scene. And those lights don't affect anything in the scene. They're set to include nothing. But TP can go ahead and use them to use data and set data channels that we can use in Pyrocluster. Let's go ahead and take a quick spin. We'll save this. We'll take Pyrocluster. We're going to disable him, and then we're going to add the Afterburn. This is Afterburn 4. Go ahead and pick our particle system. Use the all group. Pick our source lights, which is going to be the main light. And let's see here in Afterburn, we want to come down to color. We want to right click on there and say use a TP color data, and we're going to click it again, and we're going to enter the channel name. It's just color. And then we also want to affect the density here. So we're going to go ahead, and that is the one that we want, right? Yep. Okay. So we'll enable that. We're going to set it to TP float data, and his name, that channel name again, of course, is density. We've got this replace afterburn value we could use. This will force exactly whatever the value is in TP to replace what's in Afterburn. I actually like to leave this off so that we can go ahead and use the Afterburn values as multipliers and variation, which is pretty handy. Let's come back up here, and you can see for the color data channels as well, we have this case sensitive. So just make sure that your data channels are named and accurate. Okay, we'll go ahead and save this. We'll set our smoke parameter here to be, we'll give our noise a little bit of work, and let's go ahead and scrub update and render. You can see obviously we're going to need to modify some of our parameters here. The density is very strong, and let's go ahead back here, and we're going to set this just to 1. And let's also modify the actual afterburn size. Sphere radius, I think we want 3. Okay, so a little bit closer here. The afterburn's still pretty bright, so let's go ahead and take that float for our density, drop it down. Not updating there. Let's go check it out. And let's go ahead and we'll set these to 0.5. Okay, much better. We still would kind of like to see a little stronger noise punch through there. So we're going to bring up the material editor and bring up the lower end of that noise so it's nice and dark in some of those spots. And it looks like Pyrocluster is quite a bit more responsive in this area. Let's go ahead and set this to 1. Light is definitely that. Okay. Well, not quite as nice or fast to update as Pyrocluster, but still good. So this is just another example of how we can use data channels in TP to drive data also outside of TP and access the atmospherics. There's other ways that you can use TP data channels. You can use it now with Krakatoa as well to control the density and color in that system. Then we'll go ahead and take a look at some other ways that we can use data channels strictly within TP.